And we've been celebrating Carmen Harlan's nearly 40-year career at Local 4, but before she did TV, she was on radio.
And we spoke to really her first colleague ever in broadcasting to get a glimpse of her early years. It was the late 70s, and Jim Johnson was not the only one who had landed his first job in radio.
Yes, she did. She was my news person. In fact, I was hosting the morning show on WWWW in downtown Detroit, this old beautiful Victorian house on Jefferson Avenue.
There's an old joke in broadcasting about some people just having a face for radio. Carmen Harlan most assuredly does not have a face for radio.
Carmen's one of the most lovely people I've ever met in my life. She's strikingly beautiful, and I was thrilled to have her as my news person because I got to see her every day. I loved it. So yes, I knew that radio would be a stepping stone. She was very articulate, very well educated, great delivery. I knew that her next stop would be TV. Just didn't know where.
Of course, as it has always been, mornings at the microphone aren't easy. The hours are tough. And the woman who would go on to be such a good fit at 11 p.m. didn't exactly love 5 a.m.
So one day I go through the routine, I introduce, here's Carmen Harlan with the news, and I hit her mic button, and I could hear her talking, but it was nothing. It was no fidelity. It sounded like she was on another planet. So I turn around and look, and there's no microphone in front of her. She was doing the entire newscast without a microphone.
She didn't notice?
She didn't notice.
That's my girl.
Well, you know, at 5 a.m., we're all a little sleepy. I get it.
And then another morning.
So I'd wander back into her office to let her know that news was coming up in a couple of minutes to make sure she was ready for it. Well, invariably, I would go back there, and Carmen's pillow was her typewriter keyboard. It was probably one of those Selectrics from back in the old days, right? And then she'd walk in the studio, and I'd always snicker because she'd come walking in, she'd sleep on the right side of her face, and when she'd walked in, that's what I'd look at, and you could see the square marks of the keys from the keyboard of the typewriter on her face as she walked in.
Did you have to wake her up for every news?
Not every time. This happened a couple of times, maybe. Or maybe I'm embellishing. Maybe it was only once, but it was such a good story.
I love it.
Maybe just once, but don't let that get in the way of a good story. Do you remember anybody?
I don't even know that name. You know, Jim Johnson? WFM radio? No, we had some good times there, believe me. Oh my goodness, yes, for sure. I stayed there for almost 3 years. And
then
I had there was a caller that called one morning, and he said, "Can you tell me, is Carmen a blonde?" And I told him, he says, "What should I say?" I said, don't burst his bubble.
Yeah, whatever he wants. That's the beauty of radio. That's the beauty of radio. Good stuff.
It was good you got my call.
Yeah, that Bernie. What do you have for us?
Look at you just taking a step and just showing up and taking
one more day. Just one more day.
Stop it.
Speaking of a face for radio, that's what she meant.
The wings.